payday and leg day. It was a very busy week for Luka Doncic, signing a 3-year, $165 million contract extension with the Los Angeles Lakers and landing on the cover of Men's Health for a profile on his offseason training. This comes 6 months after Doncic was traded by the Dallas Mavericks, whose GM was reportedly concerned about Luka's enjoyment of beer and hookah, making comments about his conditioning after the trade went through. So Chris, are you buying this new look Luka?
I am. Look, the guy he's making a commitment to the Lakers, and the Lakers are making a commitment to him. He's doing he's done 2-a-day workouts in the offseason to get in better shape. For me, it's, I've been seeing a lot about the revenge body and getting back at Dallas and all this. I really don't think that has anything to do with it. I think for Luka, look, he's the future of the Lakers at this point. And with that contract extension, that says that. You're not very likely not going to see a LeBron James still there with him by the time that contract expires. And the thing about it, too, for Luka is if he declines the option at the end of that contract, he's then eligible for a Supermax extension with the Lakers. So it really all works out in his favor. And look, maybe it's also Luka said, look, I need to, if I want to be the elite player that I know I can be. And he, it's not saying he's not an elite player, but he's under the bright lights of LA. And if he wants to continue to be the star that he is, just make some lifestyle changes. And I think it's great that he's done that in the offseason. Like I said, it shows he's committed to the Lakers. It shows that the Lakers are committed to him by giving him that contract extension. And, we'll see what that looks like this coming season for him in the Lakers.
Mm-hmm. And you talked about Luka being the future of the Lakers. I think I would take that even a step further and say that Luka is the future of the entire league. He's kind of the present of the league too, but I think he's probably going to be the best player in the league for many years to come still, just because I think he still has so much room to grow, specifically given this new shape that he's allegedly in right now and given the steps that he can take. I think that's going to do wonders for him when it comes to increasing his effectiveness and his overall ability to kind of get into the paint and beat defenders in different ways. And so I am all in on this new look Luka for multiple different reasons. And I think one of the main ones, just looking at logistics, this offseason, he has 174 days between the Lakers' last game and opening night in October this year. Last offseason, he only had 129 days between the Mavericks' last game because they made it to the NBA Finals and the start of the next season. Plus, he had Olympic qualifying to go through. So there was much less time that he had in the offseason to get in better shape and to do some of those things that take a lot of commitment, like you said, spanning over the course of the offseason. Now with 174 days to do that and have extra motivation from this trade, I think he is going to come back with a vengeance. And I also think just the dynamics of the Mavericks actually making out pretty well from the trade, on paper at least. Whether you say they lucked into it or corrupted into it, however you want to put it, but depending on the way you view the NBA lottery, they were able to get Cooper Flagg from that deal. And so they're a pretty good team on paper. They have Cooper Flagg, Kyrie Irving when he comes back from injury. Obviously, he's one of the better scorers in the league. And then adding a guy like Anthony Davis, who is a phenomenal two-way player when he's healthy. The Mavericks could be a very good team. And so I think this is a little bit of an example of a rising tide lifting all boats here. And I do think Luka is going to have a little bit of vengeance coming back and wanting to prove to the world and to the Mavericks that they made the wrong decision. So with the Mavericks being good, I think his expectations are a little bit higher than that, given he's the one that really wants to prove Nico Harrison wrong and make sure that he knows he made a bad decision. Also, just the style of play. Luka, what makes him so good, he's not going to beat you off the dribble right now or with explosiveness or athleticism in that standard sense that you think of with speed or quickness, but he's so good at decelerating and slowing down. And so I think any little bit of explosiveness that he's able to add through getting in better shape and doing this weight training, losing some of that weight, is going to be huge for him and just take him to a whole nother level. So I'm very excited to see how he's doing when he first comes back with this new look, this new body, this new routine, and kind of a new team for him still. Obviously, it takes a little bit of time to settle in. This is his first full offseason going through training camp with the Lakers, so obviously that's going to do wonders for him too. I think he's going to probably have his best year on record, and I'm expecting him to put up numbers like Jokic had this past season, which many consider to be one of the better seasons in recent NBA memory. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what Luka has to do. And Chris, one thing that I thought was very interesting from this Men's Health profile was the meals that he's eating. And it says that he's kind of doing an intermittent fasting. So he eats 2 high-protein meals and a protein shake. But through those 3 different intakes, he's getting at least 250 grams of protein every single day. So I can't even imagine what are in those meals to get him to that level of protein, 250 grams, and only 2 meals and a protein shake. That's got to be some serious lunch and dinner there.
That's some serious eating. But hey, look, if he wants to compete and the Lakers want to compete in the West, look, you mentioned Jokic. He's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
The Oklahoma City Thunder, they got a lot of young stars. They're not going anywhere, and they just re-signed some guys. So it's also, for him, it's like his legacy. Like, man, I gotta get in better shape to compete and go up against these teams that have all of these star young players. Because the West, it's not going to get any easier. And, maybe at the end of the day, it works out, that trade works out everybody's favor. Dallas now with Cooper Flag, Luka's out in LA, so we'll see how that all plays out. But, yeah, man, that's some serious eating, 250 grams of protein. Well, they say you should have, you're trying to bulk up or slim down, whatever, get stronger, that you do, I think it's a gram of protein per body weight. So I guess that makes sense, sort of. I don't know how much he weighs, but it sounds about right. But it does, yeah, that's a lot of protein.
But just in 2 meals, too, in 1 protein shake, like that's really packing it in there.
It certainly is. Whoever his trainer is has him on the straight and narrow and said, look, this is what we're doing. But it appears to be working. I mean, you see him on the cover of that magazine. I'm going to assume they didn't do a lot of airbrushing on it. Because we're gonna find out either way when the season comes around. So, but no, it's good. It's good to see that he's taking it a step further and just getting in great shape for the upcoming season.